inverted, narcissistic, and most importantly, completely pointless. Come waste an hour of your week with The Starting Block, Friday nights Australian time at dlive.tv/The Starting Block. Get in touch with us on Twitter at The Starting Block, no K at the end. Also, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or iTunes by searching for The Starting Block, all one word, or on Podbean at startingblock.podbean.com. Join the blockheads, tuning in their millions, right around the world.
You're listening to The Starting Block on TAVshow.com.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Okie dokie, roll 'em!
Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.
Hey, welcome to Starting Block for another week. Big show as always. I don't even know what's happening tonight. We've got a rundown. There's not really a rundown. We're going to make it up as we go. Hopefully the internet doesn't cut out because of the crazy weather and the Russians. All that and much more here on the block.
Standing tall on the wings of my dream. Rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Rain and thunder, the wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. My life, my dream, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
Greeno here from The Starting Block. On behalf of the block, we just wanted to let you all know that we're all in this together. Well, except if you have coronavirus, then stay the fuck away. But in every other situation, we're in it together. To all of you on the front lines, those of you turning a footstool, a wok, and a pitchfork into a home gym, those of you who have given your housemates a mental breakdown because you decided lockdown was a great time to learn the keyboard and the only thing you can play after 8 weeks is chopsticks over and over and over again. And those of you who are homeschooling and are now understanding the question you used to harass your maths teacher with of, when the fuck are we ever going to need to know this in the real world, is coming back to bite you on the ass. Just remember, like a 1990s Australian sitcom, we're all in this together. The days may be long, but in times like this, you can rest assured we will be here to waste an hour of your week, Friday nights Australian time, at dlive.tv/The Starting Block. So take care, social distance, whack on a mask, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. It may not cure coronavirus, but it sure will help us with our rankings. And isn't that really the most important thing right now?
Public Radio's loss is TAVshow.com's game. You're listening to The Starting Block.
Hey, welcome to Starting Block for another week. You've got myself, Greeno, and I'm joined by my man, He's got his fingers, his toes, his dick and balls crossed that his internet will last more than 30 minutes. Today's show, my co-captain, Damo. How are we, sir?
Very good, Greeno. Good evening to you. Good evening to the boys and girls, listenerships, blockhead millions around the world, etc. Yes, very dodgy internet tonight, Greeno. Like a dodgy kebab, it's a dodgy internet. We don't know what we're biting into tonight. It's been kind of constant dropout since lunchtime today. And just the process, I feel like I'm actually getting a workout because I'm kind of like getting up from the chair, walking over to the thing, resetting everything, coming back, getting up, walking back at least every 20 minutes. So I feel like I've done something at least today.
Quads and glutes.
Quads and glutes. Cardio. Don't forget the cardio, Green.
And the cardio, of course, 100%.
Done some Ks today. So here's what we're going to do. Like if the internet happens to shit the bed in the next little period or whatever, we probably won't restart the stream, but I'll just reboot it and then we'll just keep doing the podcast. So if you're not in Vietnam, you've probably not heard of our podcast.
Yeah.
So
and Sweden. Don't forget Sweden. Big fans of us in Sweden.
Sweden as well. That's right. Good on the Swedes, by the way. The Vikings, Greeno. Nice, Gary. Been watching that Viking show. I'm about 4 or 5 episodes into season 5 now. Maybe a few more, actually. Maybe like 6 or 7 episodes. I'm not sure. Have you ever seen Vikings? Thing?
Nah, I can't say I have.
Oh, yeah. I think it's like 785 AD or something, or 870, something around there.
Yeah.
You're not into that kind of stuff?
No, mate, not in my wheelhouse. I want teen melodramas.
You just go to the 80s. Like, you know. Yeah. I love those old shows with knights and kings and lords and manors and, you know, gruesome medieval. There's a lot of medieval battles and shit in this show, Greeno. So it juices it up. It sexes it up, you know.
See, here's the thing for me, medieval TV/film peaked with the cartoon of Sword and the Stone. So after that, it's hard to fucking go past Archimedes and Melbourne.
What about like the Chipmunks version of King Arthur?
I haven't seen that one. No. Once again, peaked with Sword and the Stone.
Yeah.
Damo, before we start,
very important pre-show. Let's get the pre-show out of the way first tonight.
Pre-show out of the way. Some big news. Big news this week. And obviously we need to cover off the biggest story first. It's only appropriate that we cover off the big stories and then we get to the pointless shit we normally deal with on our show. Sure. I don't know if you saw the breaking news yesterday.
No.
And it shocked me. I was like, look, fuck, man, this is a game changer. This is something that personally I didn't see coming. I thought, look, we gotta take this shit seriously. We gotta get the world back on track here.
Well, what is it? For fuck's sake, tell me what it is, Greeno. I need to know.
Lindsay Lohan announced in her new TikTok thread that we've been mispronouncing her surname this entire time.
Nice, Gary!
Instead of Lohan, as pretty much everyone's been saying it, Lindsay pronounced her surname as Lohan. in her thread. Now I sent this to you twice because I saw this headline yesterday and I thought literally that headline would be much better if we stopped it after 4 words.
Fucking idiot.
Nice, Gary!
Do you want to read the tweet for everyone?
Yes.
Greeno, please?
So the tweet is, Lindsay Lohan blows everyone's mind by revealing we've been saying her surname wrong all this time. We could have cut that down. We're all about being productive on this show. Yeah. If we just had Lindsay Lohan blows everyone, or Lohan, apparently as it's meant to be pronounced.
Lohan.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan blows everyone. That's a much better headline. Okay. Now that's piquing my interest more than the fact that, you know, apparently we've been saying her name wrong. Now, that also got me thinking, Damo. Have we been saying it wrong? Has all the fucking crack she smoked messed with her brain enough that she doesn't even know how to say her own name anymore?
Maybe it's possible. What is her name? Does she know what her name is?
She doesn't know what her name is. I think she thinks she's someone else.
Really?
So she's we've been calling her Lohan, but she thinks she's this Lohan person.
She thinks she's Jim Carrey, like in that.
Spot on.
Right.
Like me, myself, and Irene, bit of secret identities. Split personalities.
Split personalities, that's right. But in a celebrity way, in a fun way. Because Lindsay
100%.
Was a lot of fun back in her day. Remember, she used to get drunk and drive around a lot. She used to do big bags of coke and shit. Like she was a good time back in the day.
Had a girl blowies out in public.
What's she doing now? Is she like some churchy or something? Or
no, now she just does TikTok.
Just TikTok. What's on TikTok? What's happening on TikTok? Why is Lindsay Lohan? And you know what? To be fair, I'm not going to accept. I'm going to give myself a nice Gary credit.
Nice, Gary!
because I'm not going to accept any guilt or blame or responsibility for Lindsay Lohan's feelings on this one, because I've always called her Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
So I think the Australian, community, we're out of this. This has nothing to do with us, because just for the nature of our accent, we've always called her Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, we haven't called her Lohan.
No one's called her Lohan. Like, what? It's ridiculous. Why would you call her Lohan? It's Lohan.
Well, because her name's pronounced, it's spelled Lohan. That's technically Lohan. But in Aussie slang, that's Lohan.
It looks like if her name is pronounced Lohan, and it's like you've walked in halfway through, an amateur actor's reading of Star Wars. Hello, Han. Hello, Han. Hello, Han blows everyone's minds. Makes sense to me.
No run.
No run. No run. Fuck 'em.
No run on that joke.
It's good to see Lindsay back in the news, though, isn't it?
Fucking oath it is.
She's on her way back, isn't she?
No, she's not. She's on TikTok. When you have to resort to TikTok to get yourself a headline, you're struggling.
Well, that's the thing. Like this, when the celebrities go down to like TikTok level or YouTube level, but then there's YouTubers and TikTokers who are more famous than they are. That's what fucking kills them. That's the stake going into the vampire's heart, It's like, oh shit, now I'm down here with these. Like, they would be saying, who the fuck is this person? Why does this person have more views than me? Don't they know who I am? I don't know who I am. Am I Lindsay Lohan or Lindsay Lohan?
Nice, Gary!
Bit of Dr. Seuss for you. Yeah.
Fucking oath. Well done. That's a good play. Words. I like it.
Yeah.
You just story time to kick us off, sir?
Yeah,
I like stories about pinatas.
So, like I was explaining with the internet, and, touch wood, hopefully it works for the rest of the story. Otherwise, that would be the greatest kind of ironic death, wouldn't it, if the internet kind of crapped out halfway through the story about the internet.
The internet crapping out.
It would be a beautiful way to end the show, really. Forever. We could never come back from that.
It'd be spelled. It'd be our best show ever. It'd be like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Done. It'd be our most download. They love that in Vietnam because they're punctual.
That's right.
They're like, hey, what's with these hour and a half, 2 hour shows? No. 6 minutes of the block.
They're efficient. We'll give ourselves a real kind of Blair Witch Project ending, Greeno. Just all of a sudden the sound cuts out and the camera drops, and then that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
That's the way we should go out. So these issues with the internet, like I said, it got to about 4:35. The internet cut out again, and I pulled the plug. I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here for the week. That's it. I'm done, because I've been fucking around with the internet all day. It's back on. Done a shitload of hours this week as well, Greeno. So it was like Friday afternoon. I'm like, I'm pretty well covered here. I've pretty well done everything I can. And
I've been hours in the bank.
That's it. Oh, I've been fucking shitting out the hours the last few days, So I had no guilt whatsoever. And I was struggling with this internet all afternoon for whatever reason. 4:35 rolls around. I'm like, you know what? That's it. The internet's gone out again. I unplug and just walked outside, had a cigarette and a nice beer, and we're good to go. But it got me thinking while I was having a cigarette and a beer, Greeno, what is your strategy? What is the environment? I want you to walk me through, because you're a very experienced office person and I'm not. Yeah. So it got me thinking, like, this dynamic in the office, what must it be like? And I'm talking about in the office and even working from home as well. How do you go about preparing for your Friday afternoon exit strategy, Green?
Nice, Gary!
I imagine there's prep work going in at like morning tea even. Can you walk us through that scenario? Walk us through that.
See, here's my strategy, right? So with Fridays in general, I try and phone Fridays in as much as humanly possible. Right. And as I'm a team leader, right? So basically,
so you can delegate the fuck out of Friday.
I try not to fuck up Friday for anyone else either. I want everyone to have a good Friday. Right? I want everyone to go out the weekend on a good note. So I definitely don't delegate on a Friday. But what I try and do is I come up with bullshit morale boosters that I do as activities on a Friday, right? So on Friday mornings, instead of doing...
By the way, everyone, today's going to be Hawaiian shirt day at the office. If you want to get on Zoom with your Hawaiian shirts, we like to have a bit of fun around here.
That's annoying. People don't like that. We don't like that. We like time wasters where we can say we're doing work, but we're not really doing work. So we had a lady join our team about 6 or 9 months ago now, where she was like, look, because we're stuffy accountants, right? So we're not very fun. And she's like, but she was an extrovert. She was kind of like, look, we need to do some fun things. So we started doing trivia Fridays instead of doing a bullshit morning meeting.
Okay.
So normally come in, you run through what you got to do for the day. Nah, fuck that. We scrapped it and we do some bullshit trivia. That kind of livens the day, right? So already the day is off to a nice start. So we got that good. Now you're talking exit strategy. So what I ended up doing in the back end of the day is for some reason.
When do you start preparing for the back end? Like, you know,
What
are you thinking about it at lunch, are you? Are you thinking about it at 2 in the afternoon? Are you?
Well, here's the thing. Back in the when you could physically go to the office days, the whole afternoon was a write-off because you do Friday pub lunch.
Really?
So you get all your work done before midday.
Yep.
You hit the pub with the boys. You'd come back and you'd file for the rest of the afternoon, so you don't have to do any real work.
Okay.
Yeah, that was back in the days when we still had physical files. Now it's all online.
Oh, really? So you're going back to like the clunky big boxes, like the ring and like pulling the drawer out and putting pieces of paper in the file. That's fucking old school.
No, mate, that was only 4 years ago for my
4 years ago. Yep. So when you called someone up, did you have to go over to the big Bakelite phone and ring, and then type out your report on the typewriter, Greeno? Did you have to?
Not quite that old school, but we still had physical files.
Secretary walks past and you just fucking give her a big slap on the ass.
Slap on the ass, that's right.
Yeah. The good old days, Greeno.
Exactly. So basically what we did in the afternoon, so now we're work from home, you can't just get on the cans at midday.
No.
So the team were like, we need morale boosters to work from home, pandemic.
Yeah.
And I started just posting like fun, like basically the YouTube fun song things you do.
You know what's a great morale booster though, Greeno? A six-pack will boost your morale.
Is morale booster. Yep. But when you get drunk and in the middle of the night and you stay up and watching bullshit YouTube music clips all night, from old school, I started to post a few of those in the team chat. And everyone's like, we love this. So then they delegated me the DJ duties. Okay. So instead of working from 3 till 4.
It's a big call delegating DJ duties to anyone. I can never endorse anyone fully. Like,
well, they endorse me. And you know my taste. I've got it covered.
Yeah.
I put a good jam together. So from 3 till 4,
Master
instead of
the
doing work
mixtape.
now. Exactly. Instead of doing work now, I sit there and patrol YouTube and post random video clips every 5 minutes to keep the team entertained. So that's how I pad out my week. Now, I've also made sure that my one-on-one with my boss is a Friday arvo.
Right.
Because that's more
because you both want to wrap
it
it up kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a bit of a chit chat. I get on very well with my boss. He's a good dude. And it's kind of like we talk about work for about 15 to the 30, and then we chit chat about golf and sport and F1 and all that kind of shit. Right. And that sees out my day. So there's a few different strategies you can do to pad out the arse end of your Friday.
Right.
Whether it be morale boosters, like just posting YouTube clips instead of working, or make sure you call meetings that are kind of fun meetings, not serious meetings, that are more just chit chats with your boys.
Yep.
A few different options there, or you can just get on the cans and not come back to work.
Right.
Is that the end of the story time?
That's it.
I like stories about pinatas.
No, you know what happened? I thought the internet dropped out because you just fucking stopped talking. And I was like, oh, shit.
Well, this was you said I always talk too much. So I was trying to like just let the joke breathe.
Oh, you're very nice.
Nice, Gary.
I was trying to take your feedback from previous shows and go, look, you got to let a joke breathe, man. And I'm like, I'll let it breathe. And then you worry the internet came out. So,
speaking of letting it breathe, so here's my theory on the Friday afternoon thing. So what I would say is I reckon it depends entirely on the environment on that particular day. So if you have like a pre-plan to kind of sneak out early, but just say like a new kit's in the office at 3 in the afternoon or something like that. And so, you know what? It's all hands to the pump. Everyone's got to get down. You got to get the old files out, Greeno. Got to start putting pieces of paper in the file. Then, I want to know like the strategy from that situation. Like, what kind of a person do you have to be the first one to leave at, say, like, I'm going to call it like a 4:15, Greeno, in the afternoon. Let's say chaos hits at 3 and just kind of stroll out casually and be like, all right, guys, have a good weekend. I'm getting out now, but got to beat the traffic. You know how it is. See you later. Just leave them all kind of filing the big fucking piece of paper in the files.
Well, that is me. So
You coolly stroll past like without
I
a care.
don't work 1 minute past 4. 4 o'clock's my knock-off time. Life's too short to spend more than 1 minute at work than you have to. I knock off at 4 on the dot. I don't do overtime.
Nice
I don't
Gary.
do it.
Nice,
I do a second over.
Gary.
It's fucking tools down as soon as you knock off time. You want me to work 4:01? Excellent. Pay me for the extra minute. Then I'm going to do it. Simple as that. I have fully, like, trying to get serious for a moment. I fully oppose anyone doing any overtime. I've said that to my teams for like 10 years now.
Yeah,
Any
right.
team I've managed, I'm like, I don't want anyone working an extra minute. And I'm like, why? We got to get the work done. I'm like, no. Well, here's the thing.
That's your time.
If you work and get all the work done by giving them 2 extra free hours,
Yep.
Firstly, you're not getting paid for it. Secondly, they think that you got the right amount of work because you're doing extra hours. But if the work goes overdue inside your work hours, they're like, shit, we need more staff.
Right.
So by doing it, you're actually robbing yourself of expanding the team and doing the right thing.
And you're
'Cause
fucking
all
up the
management
numbers.
sees-
They don't know
all
now how
management
much.
sees is results, right? They go,
Yeah.
oh, they can get it done. Sweet, we can get rid of a few jobs.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. These people are working extra hours. So I always encourage people, only ever work the hours you paid to work.
Yeah.
If they want to pay you overtime, so be it, but make sure it's noted it's overtime because it hits their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the job doesn't get done. And then they go, well, why didn't the job get done? Well, we need more people. They're going to hire more people instead of like going, well, just do free labor.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So I am the dude who bails at 4 o'clock no matter what.
Nice Gary.
Nice,
Now,
Gary.
with that being said, though, you've got to bank up enough brownie points.
Right.
Like I can't rock up like week 1 of a new job and be like, I'm out at 4. Sorry, got to go. You gotta build up that leeway. I've been in my job for like 13, 14
You've worked
years
your
now.
way up the chain. Everyone knows you. You know they know who you are. You call the shots in your fucking team there, and it's like, all right, guys, we're out the door. 4 p.m. Let's go. That's
My
how we
general
roll.
rule was as soon as I passed my probation, they couldn't sack me without reason. That's when I could start fucking off at 4.
That's when you started like throwing coffee mugs in the lunchroom and stuff, smashing them into the wall, intimidating other co-workers because like they can't get rid of me, can't sack me. And it's like, you know what? 4 o'clock, I'm out of here. So long,
I'm out.
suckers.
Well, you can't get fired for leaving work on time.
No,
So
that's
that
right.
one's fine. The glass mugs, however, different story. You're probably going to get in trouble.
If you just throw a couple around the coffee room when you're pissed off, it's a good release valve, isn't it? Like just to go in, smash a couple of plates, do a
I
bit of
wouldn't
Lindsay
recommend
Lohan
it.
style in there.
I wouldn't recommend it personally.
No.
I try and avoid doing that where you can.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe your office doesn't have cleaners in it.
Oh, no, I haven't been to the office in 2 years.
Nice,
It's even better because
Gary.
then you can throw the coffee mugs around in your own kitchen. Yeah.
Exactly. Just ruining the kitchen.
Yeah.
Damo, we haven't got to mute a word of the week.
Did you mute anything this week? I don't think I muted anything this week.
Had to mute 2 words this week, Damo.
Oh, okay. What you got?
Russia and Ukraine, got to mute them.
Both.
Nice, Gary.
I like that you muted both of them. That's the most equitable way of doing things.
Nah, it's going to be equitable. Because it's fucking up my timeline. Like we said on the show, we talked about it 1,000 times already with the muted
Sick
word
of
of the
seeing
week.
the shit. Yep.
I just need to, all I want to see in my timeline is sport, 80s and 90s movies, and tit. That's all I need. And then also yesterday, I was scrolling through. I saw 80s and 90s movies. I saw some sport. I saw some tit. And then I'm like, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. And I don't care if there's a war going on. It's fucking up my timeline. So I got to mute them.
If the war gets serious enough, you'll know about it. You know, basically, is what you're
Someone will
saying.
message me. Someone will send me a text. Someone will send a Gary Pigeon.
Someone will send you an
We'll find out.
email. You know, you'll know when the
Someone-
shells start falling in the suburbs, Greeno. That's when you'll figure it out.
When petty gets above like $4.50 a litre, my theory is shit's going down.
If Penny got above $4.50 a litre, the fucking country would grind to a fucking halt because our country, unbeknownst to these fucking, beret wearing retards in cafes in Western Europe, Bruno, the types, unbeknownst to them who preach like the value of like solar panels and shit in Australia. What are you guys burning so much fossil fuel for? Because you've got so much sunshine down there. It's like, yeah, it's fucking great, genius. So you've got to put the solar panels in the middle of the desert. By the time you get that charge to the city, you wouldn't even be able to power a fucking bedside lamp, right? But the other thing they don't understand is in this country, right, everything's got to be driven from one place to another, and everywhere is really far away from everywhere else.
Nothing's local.
No, it's the land mass of the United States. But imagine the United States, right, and everybody living within a few miles of the coast all the way around. That's what Australia is.
The big
So-
happy lap.
Yeah, so if you want to get something from one side to the other side, it fucking takes a long time.
Takes a little while.
That's right. You got to burn. Guess what? You got to burn a lot of fucking juice, Greeno.
Nice, Gary.
Burns a lot of fuel. We don't even make our own fuel anymore. Did you know that? It was like 10 years. Yeah. About 10 years ago, we shut down the last couple of refineries. So now we're 100% solely dependent on the fuel that they bring in from overseas.
Yeah.
So let's just say something crazy happens, like Greeno, for example, some kind of war in Eastern Europe. Okay.
Never happened, mate.
I know it would never happen. This is purely hypothetical. But let's just say it did kick off. And then
I check my timeline, mate. Nothing's going on.
Right. And you know what never happens in these kinds of situations, Greeno? These things never snowball, do they? Like it'll always just stay in that one little local area and it'll never spread. Like neighboring countries aren't going to be dragged to getting involved to defend themselves or anything. Like that never happens. And then people like alliances get called up and it's like, well, you got to defend me because we have this pact. That shit never happens. And then the world tumbles into war. That's never happened before, has it, Greeno?
It's crazy talk, mate.
Crazy talk.
You've been reading too many fairy tales, sir.
Fairy tales. I mean, that kind of thing would never fucking happen, obviously.
Snow White and Seven Dictators, mate. Fucking, you got to get out of the fairy tales.
You got to do
Nice, Gary.
crazy stuff, Greeno. Crazy stuff.
We talked about the big stories already. We're going to touch on one more before we go to a break, mate.
No, I don't think we can take a break. I think we're just going to keep going because if we take a break,
there's no breaks.
Yeah, the internet will probably fuck out. So let's just keep going as long as we possibly humanly can, Greeno. And then we'll just call it. All right.
Sounds
Nice,
like a
Gary.
plan.
Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary. We talked about the real superpowers in Australia. Forget your Putins. Forget your ScoMos. Forget your whoever else is a superpower.
Albo, Greeno.
Albo.
The mighty Albo.
Mighty Albo. I'm talking about world powers, mate, not just Australian.
Local. He's a local hero, though, isn't he? The
local
Albo.
hero, exactly. Albo. But we go.
That was his footy name, Greeno. Albo.
Boogie, Blokey,
Larry, footy, piss in the carby, mate.
That's it. We're going to go global. We're going to talk about superpowers today, mate. We're talking Beck Judd and Nadia Bartel.
Is that what we're talking about? Is it? Okay.
That's all we're talking about, mate. We're doing the big stories here on the block.
Of course. Big news.
We got Lohan and we got Beck Judd and Nadia Bartel.
Lohan, I think you'll find it's pronounced, Greeno.
Yeah. Apparently, I saw this throughout the week. Melbourne's most famous faces. Firstly, if you saw these two fucking strumpets out on the street, would you even recognise them?
Strumpets.
There goes a couple of crackheads walking down the street.
Crackheads?
That's what I'd say.
Fucking hell. See, this is the thing, like, people always think Greeno's like the more responsible one, but he's not. He's never been. He's always the one that says something, and I'm looking at him like when we were doing the radio show, I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Don't say that. You can't say that. And he just sandbag me and just drop it there and just laugh. And it'll be like, all right, well, that was good.
Nice, Gary.
Strumpets. What was it? Strumpets and crackheads and fucking hell, mate.
So these apparently Melbourne's most famous. This is the headline. Yeah. Melbourne's most famous faces were out in force on the weekend, celebrating celebrity fashion stylist Lana Wilkinson's 40th birthday.
I don't even know who Lana Wilkinson is. Who is she?
Exactly. Beck Judd sizzles in sexy mini dress.
What's a mini dress? Aren't they just dresses? Is a mini dress should be something you put on a Barbie doll, like a little child's toy.
Skirt, I'm assuming. But they find a way. They finish to squeeze in the Miss Nosebeers Sniffy Nadia Bartel as well.
Nosebeers.
Nice, Gary.
And Nadia Bartel both rocking racy outfits.
That's fucking fantastic.
This was on once again news.com's story of the week.
Fucking good story.
I like stories about pinatas.
I tell you what, Greeno, I might pull something up for you. So I've got a couple of videos kind of lined up for my show tomorrow, but I think you might get some more enjoyment out of one of them as opposed to myself.
Don't spoil all your content.
No. I have no content. No, it's nothing serious. So I'll tell you what. How about this, Greeno? Because I think this is I think you'll appreciate this. Let's have a look at this. It's a current affair, which I know you're a big fan of. Okay.
Oh, we love our current affair on the show.
Because we were talking about big news events. And I just thought this, you know what? I know Greeno's very serious about the news.
Got to take it seriously, mate. It's a fucking very serious world out there. A lot of things going on.
A lot of bad things.
We got Lohan. We got.
How do you know? You mute everything that comes up on your Twitter feed.
Nah, but I keep the serious stuff. Lindsay Lohan. Beck Jarden and Nadia Bartel.
Russia, Ukraine. What are you talking about? Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Muted that back. I muted that before the fucking troops even set foot in Kiev. Like before they even got to the border, you'd already muted it just for the build up.
Side note, was I the only one craving a chicken Kiev this morning? Just me?
Nice, Gary.
I like it had to be in the morning as well, like for breakfast. Because it
I'm
happened overnight. So
got a cracker, it's got a cracker. I'm hankering for a bit of chicken Kiev right now.
Chicken Kiev. That's the shit with the garlicky kind of sauce in the middle, isn't it?
The butter in the middle, the butter, the herbs.
It's the shit they always give you on a flight, whether you ask for it or not.
Yeah, and for some reason the butter's frozen in the middle whenever you cut into it. It's never good.
Airline food's not as bad as it must have used to be, I think.
So no, I've only ever done like a couple of long haul flights. So most of my flights are to and from Melbourne. So I've never really, the meal is here's a snack. Like here's a cookie or here's a bit of cake or whatever that I don't eat anyway.
Yeah.
Meal. I can't remember what I ate on flights to the US, but can't remember being good. I can't remember being
US
bad.
is a decent fucking flight though.
That's what I mean. Like I had meals then, but I'm saying I can't remember what they were. But they kind of if they're not that bad, if they were that bad, I would have remembered it. That's my point.
How long's the flight to the US, Greeno?
I think it was like 18 hours.
It's pretty long.
18. Oh, yeah. It depends on which way you go, but yeah, I think it was about 18 hours off the top of my head. I know it was a long trip, enough that everyone else slept and I didn't, and I got to the end, I felt like a zombie. I think it was about 18, and I probably could look that up, but I felt like a long time. I think I got through about a dozen movies off memory.
I haven't been to the States, but I did fly to Scotland, and that felt like I was on a flight for 2 days. I can't think of how long the flight time was, but you go here and then you're stopped in the Middle East and then you go again. So it's like, I don't know.
That's 19 hours behind. Like, how long is the flight time? Time flight. Here we go. 14 hours. 14
hours. Yeah, I don't even know if I could do that anymore these days. I don't know if I could sit in a chair that long.
That was 14 hours in the air, right? That's 14 hours. That doesn't include, the hour you're waiting to get on. Yeah. That's why I was like, I swear it felt longer than 14 hours.
That's the real punish, isn't it, with air travel? It's not the actual flight. It's not the sitting there getting served drinks and food. Who doesn't like that, getting served drinks and food? I just wish you could fire up a cigarette like you could back in, again, the good old days, Greeno. Slap the waitress on the ass. Oh, sorry, the air hostess or the stewardess or whatever you call them.
Yeah.
And, they were like the good old days. But, the food's a lot better now. The punish is the fucking queuing, and you've got to wait in this line and you shuffle through that little thing like you're at the bank. And then, if for whatever reason there's a hold up and then you've got to sit here and you can only go there. And that's the shit that fucking punishes you. Some flights, have you ever gone like for a short flight to say Brisbane or Melbourne and the time you spend in the airport is like far exceeds the time of the actual flight itself? Like,
I once did a trip to Melbourne and I shit you not, that I arrived at the airport at 4 a.m. and I arrived at Melbourne at 4 p.m.
Nice, Gary.
So
12 hours.
12 hours.
You could have driven there in 12 hours.
100%. So what happened is I arrived, quick story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
So I arrived at the airport at 4 a.m. I was meant to be on a 5 a.m. flight, so you got to get there an hour beforehand. So got there for the 5 a.m. flight. Got there, got told, no, your flight's been cancelled, sir. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's the plan? Well,
what's the plan?
Am I just on the next Melbourne flight? No, the next Melbourne flight's full. So
hang on. How can they be full, but you're kicking me off my plane? Shouldn't I be the first one to get the next plane?
Yeah, cancel that one. Yeah, move on.
How do they get beneficial? How do they get the beneficial treatment when they're coming in after you? That doesn't make sense.
No sense. So then they're like, no, so what we've done, sir, is you're on standby and then we're going to work out next flight for you. I'm like, okay, excellent. So then an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours passes. And then I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on flight? Like, no, we've got you on the flight. So I'm like, excellent. When do I fly to Melbourne? Like, well, you're not technically flying to Melbourne yet. I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
technically, technically. Don't fucking technically me, mate.
Like, we put you on a flight to Adelaide to then get a connecting flight to Melbourne. And I'm like, but I'm in Sydney. And they're like, yeah, that's the only way we can get you to Melbourne today. So I then had to wait for a 10 o'clock flight to Melbourne. So I had to wait 6 hours then. 10-hour flight to Adelaide. So then flew from Sydney to Adelaide. Then I had to wait 3 hours in the Adelaide airport to then get the connecting flight from Adelaide to Melbourne. I arrived in the office, went to my desk because I was doing training the next day.
Now, hang on a minute. I need to interrupt
I like
the story.
stories about pinatas.
I need to interrupt the story going back to the earlier story, Greeno, now about the knock-off time. So now, if you're walking into that office at 3:58 p.m., I want to know, did you stick true to your I do not work past 1 minute past 4 p.m., sir? Can you tell us?
Nice, Gary.
What was the rule on that day?
The next words out of my mouth were, I walked in at 3:45.
Nice, Gary.
I saw my team. I said, hey, man, and because I'd been messaging them during the day because I was meant to be there at 9 a.m. for a training. So I had to cancel a whole bunch of trainings and get someone else to fill in for me. I walked in, I'm like, hey, Ed, how you doing? Finally arrived. Excellent. And they're like, oh, cool. I told them the story.
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, it was like 5 to 4. I'm like, mate,
let's get
I'm
the
going
fuck out of here.
I'm going to have to go to my hotel and check in. He's like, you're not logging in.
Nice,
I'm like,
Gary.
checking in, mate. I said, I started work at 4 a.m. It's not my fault that my whole work ended up being on a flight.
That's it. We're out of here.
So
see you later.
Went in, checked in my hotel, and
they should appreciate the fact that you went. I wouldn't have even gone straight to the office first. I would have thought, fuck that. I'm just going straight to the hotel. I'll see you in the morning. Fucking no, not happening, But you actually went to the office with your luggage and shit.
Well, because the town car they'd organised for me was to the office.
Oh,
and
so you couldn't even go straight to the fucking hotel.
No, well, the hotel wasn't too far at walk, so it was all good. So
so this driver, was he waiting there all day for you to show up at the airport to take you?
No, so I then had to get in contact with him and go, mate, I'm now on this flight to Adelaide and then on a flight from Adelaide to Melbourne.